Hi, and welcome back to Basement Backgammon. In this episode, we're going to be looking at problem 64 in Bill Robertie's 501 Essential Backgammon Problem Series. In this problem, Brown is being asked to play a 4-1. Brown is in incredibly good shape. They have most of their home board set up. White does have the golden point, but has a man on the bar, but is also facing a particularly tough home board by White, having 5 points closed and just the 3 open. Brown has a blot open on 13, and White has 2 blots as well on the midpoint and the bar point. So how is Brown to play a 4-1 here? I'll give you 10 seconds to decide, and I will come back in 10 seconds with the answer. Please hit the pause button if you want more time. Okay, and we're back. So Robertie's answer here is the obvious 13 to 12 to pick up another checker and put on the bar, and the less obvious 7 to 3. Breaking the midpoint, leaving an extra blot out, but putting 2 men on the bar. Now that I've said that, it may be obvious why Robertie's asking you to do that and why he's saying this is the correct play. Because the more obvious play would be 13 to 12 and then 12 to 8, which would be not a good move. So this is Robertie's answer. And let's read about why. Just because the game's under control is no reason to let up. Squeeze the most out of every position. Brown felt pretty good here and played 13 to 12 hit and then 12 to 8, which is obvious but careless. A better play was 13 to 12 hit 7 to 3, getting 4 builders for the ace point. Closing the ace point quickly gives better gammon chances, and the best time to create builders is when your opponent has 2 men on the bar. So let's talk about that for just a second. Robertie is saying, I love this closing quote here. The best time to get builders is when your opponent has 2 men on the bar. Leaving this shot does not injure Brown's position at all because this is an invulnerable checker with 2 men on the bar. There's nothing White can roll at this point that will get both men in and also hit this checker. So you can leave this one bare in order to have the advantage of having 4 builders to close the ace point, which now that we're talking about it, of course, seems obvious, but over the board, if you're moving quickly, you may have missed that. So I think what Robertie's point here is just slow down, take a look at what you're trying to do. You're trying to close the ace point in order to get a better gammon. We understand the hit. Now we want to close the ace point. What's the best way to do that? I find that a lot of players tend to make moves. They think of both dice as being part of their move. They do the 1, they do the 4, and they really don't separate them out as much into 2 different lines of thought. So instead of playing, okay, how am I going to play a 4? How am I going to play a 1? It should be, how am I going to do this? What does this die do for me? Stop. Now that I've done that, what does this die do for me? Right? It's an if-and situation, if-or situation. If-then situation, I should say, right? You've done one thing. Now that you have that, what can the other die do for you? And vice versa. I've done this. Now that I've done that, what can this die do for me? So you don't necessarily have to use them in combination. You shouldn't. You should think of them as 2 separate roles, 2 separate moves to do. Let's see what XG has to say about this, although I have a good feeling that XG is going to corroborate Robertie here. I don't see a better move in my opinion, but hey, what do I know? We'll go and see the XG analysis in just a moment. Hi, we're back with our XG analysis of problem 64, where Black is being asked to play a 4-1. We know 13-12 is going to be the hit. The question is, what do we do with the 4? Let's see what XG has to say. And XG disagrees with Robertie. XG says yes to hit, but then play 8-4, which is very interesting, breaking from the back rather than the 7-3, giving yourself extra builders to make the ace point, which I thought Robertie made a great point about. But XG agrees that 13-12, 8-4 is the right one. 13-12, 12-8, 13-12, 7-3 is the second choice. 13-12, 12-8 being the safe one is the third choice. Now, I've looked at these in Cubeless, and it turns out that they're all really, really close. In fact, 13-12, 7-3 is within under 1% equity loss. So it's like 7/10 equity loss, 7/10 of 1%. So very, very close. So I guess it's a kind of a feel thing. But XG says 13-12-8-4 is the way to go. And I've played this in match play in various situations, and 13-12-8-4 always seems to be the right play. So that's kind of interesting. Just so you know, White has 121 pip count in this position. Player 1 is 83, so way, 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 way ahead. Anyway, that is the situation, even with putting 2 up on the bar. I thought that was kind of interesting. If you like this video series, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. I really need those subscriptions to go up, and tell your friends about this. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of future videos as I upload them, 1 a day until the end of the series. Thanks very much.